All right, so with example 2, a recap of it. Remember, we're still solving nonlinear inequalities. So the first thing we have to do is make sure that we have a 0 on one side of that inequality. So let's take care of that now. All right, now that that's done, remember when we're solving nonlinear inequalities, we have to find those intervals for our table. And those intervals are created, again, by the x-intercepts and the vertical asymptotes. And so I'm looking at this, and remember that to find the x-intercept, that's where it's equal to 0. So we either need to factor this to find those x-intercepts, or we're going to have to use our p's and q's. Well, luckily, this problem will factor, so we don't have to do the p's and q's. So let's do that. So in order to factor this, remember, we always check to see is there any greatest common factor for the entire thing. No, there's not. There's 4 terms, so remember we're going to try grouping. So we're going to split it in half and common factor these two sides individually. On the left side there, I can take out an x squared, and when I divide that out, I'm left with 3x minus 4. Then we always bring down that sign right there, and the other side here, then I can take out a 4. When I divide both of those by that negative 4 that's there, I also have 3x minus 4. Then we common factor out of the whole. Both terms here have a 3x minus 4, so we're going to take it out. And so when I divide that out, those cancel out, and I'm left with the x squared minus 4. But am I done factoring? Of course not. So therefore, I can take that x squared minus 4. It is a difference of squares, and it gives me x plus 2, x minus 2. And this is all still equal to 0, because remember, our goal is we're finding those x-intercepts right now, so we don't worry about the inequality yet. Then we set them individually equal to 0, and we solve. So I end up with x equals 4/3, x equals negative 2, and x equals positive 2. From there, we can start our interval table. Okay, so remember our interval table. Oh, I also forgot to mention that I need to go back real quick, is vertical asymptotes. Remember, vertical asymptotes only exist where our denominator, our uncancelled factors, of the denominator are equal to 0. Well, I don't have a denominator here, so I don't have any vertical asymptotes. So now that we've got that cleared up, we definitely need to start our interval table. Remember, our intervals always start at negative infinity. They always end at positive infinity. And they're broken up by those x-intercepts and those vertical asymptotes in numerical order. So we always start at negative infinity. And it goes to the smallest then of our x-intercepts, which is at negative 2. Then it goes from negative 2 to the next smallest, which is 4/3. Then 4/3 to the next smallest, which is 2. And then 2 to the next smallest, which I don't have anything else, so it just keeps going to infinity. Remember, your infinities will always have parentheses, and your x-intercepts will either have parentheses if it does not have an equal to in the inequality, or it will have a bracket if there is an equal to. So I'll look back at the problem. It is only a greater than symbol, so that means all my x-intercepts are also going to have parentheses. Excuse me. All right, so then we have to pick an x value that's in that interval. So I'm going to pick negative 3, 0, maybe 1.5, and positive 3. So I plug those into my f of x function, and I get negative 65. We got 16, negative 0.875, which you could use a fraction there if you prefer, and we got 25. So I've got a negative, then a positive, then a negative, and a positive. So remember, the final step there is to look back at your problem. What did it say? It said greater than, well, it said greater than, I need to actually look here. It's greater than 0. And so what kind of numbers are greater than 0? Well, positive numbers are. So anywhere that has a positive is going to be my solution set. So I see here, I've got 2 of them that are positive, so I have 2 pieces to my solution. So it's from negative 2 to 4/3, and it's from 2 to infinity. Make sure you use the little U symbol there to mean and, okay guys? All right, great job.